Hi everyone, Dolphin Oracle here again today, taking a look at the desktop session app that's available in antiX 15. This is a little app, little session manager is running in the background. It's going to do a few things for you that maybe you don't see, and it's not available in any other OS in Linux operating system, and it's written specifically for antiX. So let's take a look. Now I'm going to log in to my antiX desktop. And you see we're going to get this little session is loading. This is the first indicator that something is different from antiX 15 in antiX 15 from past versions. That's part of the desktop session app loading and taking care of the whatever it is you want to load when you start your system. You see we have a keyboard switcher, we have the volume icon, we have the new search bar, search for highlighted text. Check out the search bar item in my What's New video. We're going to open up Control Center, and I'm going to show you how to control some of the things that are in desktop session, what's available. So we'll go to the session tab, and we have a user desktop session and a global desktop session. I'm going to use the global for now. User is actually an override for the global. If the user ones are edited, then the globals won't process. So we're going to go to the global. And what will happen here is you'll see there is a startup tab, a wallpaper.conf, a wallpaperlist.conf, and a desk.session.conf. And I'll go over each one. The startup tab is just like the old window manager startup tabs, Fluxbox/startup, IceWM/startup, where this is the applications you want to start at launch every time you launch your system. Except these will launch no matter what WM, no matter what window manager you choose to load at launch. Remember, antiX comes with 3 window managers and 2 different icon managers, so there's a matrix of options available. No icons, SpaceFM, Rocks, JWM, Fluxbox, and IceWM. And actually there's another tiling window manager, Herbstloft WM, which I don't quite understand myself, but check it out too if you like. So anyway, you can set this. So I don't really want the keyboard launcher. I'm going to disable the keyboard launcher, and I'm actually going to disable the search bar icon too. Actually, I'm going to leave the search bar icon because it's kind of cool. So I'm going to go to wallpaper.conf. This is just the settings for the wallpaper app, which you can use it all from here. There's some options here you can set. Most of that is available here. Wallpaper list controls. You can actually have a different wallpaper for each desktop combination. So, if you set the wallpaper in IceWM and you switch to Fluxbox, you could have a different wallpaper. And then the app will take care of writing this file for you. You don't have to do it yourself. And then desktopsession.conf is where the main desktop session app is configured. And there's some different things. Most of this is fairly well commented and documented. You can set some delays if you need the system to wait a little longer for apps to load before the window manager launches. You can, or rather before, and then you can set, if how many times it checks to see if a window manager is loaded before going forward, and even if it fails, you can set it to force load. Now, I haven't seen anyone in the forums have to modify these settings, so maybe it'll come up. But at least they're here. I don't really know the effect. I haven't had to touch them. Because the default system is working perfectly fine for me. Session protect files, you can set this so that you won't update any files accidentally in desktop session. Okay, just update me, fine. Notification dialog, that is that session is loading wait that we got up front. You can turn it completely off, which is cool. Or if you want to leave it on, you can change the text. All right. If we come down to startup dialog, there's actually a utility that popped up with help and what's new and that kind of thing. It's a very simple utility. It turned out not to be very popular, so it's turned off by default. But you can actually set this to true and start anything you want down here. Here's some examples of what you want, of things you might want to do. But it's just another way to launch an app. You could put it in the startup folder just as easily. Here's where things get a little different from the norm. Load conky equals true. This is our conky display over here, and if you notice in the startup tab, conky's not here. That's because desktop session loads conky itself. So if you want to have the same conky on every desktop, that's fine. Leave it enabled. Leave it set to true. If you want a different conky depending on your window manager, then so anyway, if for some reason you want to keep conky from loading, you can type false, and then you can always load it yourself from the startup tab or the various window manager startup tabs. They're still there. They're still available in the control center. Loading XDG auto start. This is XDG. The XDG auto start system is one of the ways in which apps that set auto start settings in their preferences dialogues, like for instance Dropbox, tell the operating system they need to auto start. They don't put startup tabs in your startup lines in your startup file. They actually put a link in an auto start folder, and if you set this to true, then that will process. Now, in antiX, there are a couple of apps that are actually set to load with auto start that don't load by default from the startup tabs. One of those is the YCD client icon. You can load it in here just fine if you want to in the startup tab, or you can set this to true and it'll load itself automatically, because Wicked or YCD, whatever you want to call it, is set to do that automatically, to put its icon in the system tray. You'll also get an app called Clip It, which is available in the I believe it's in accessories. Yeah, Clip It. It's a little clipboard manager. It is set to auto load as well. We don't auto load it here, but if you enable XD auto start, it'll show up. So I'm going to put that to true. And I'm also going to leave the startup file loading. You can set this to false if you want to. It won't process this startup file. If you leave it to true, it will, and it will still load volume icon in the search bar. So we should get, when we reload, we should lose the flag, and we should get a couple other items down there. And then you can set the screen blank time. This is the time that sets for your monitor to turn off. This is not a screensaver. Okay. DPMS. So right now it's 6 minutes, 3,600 seconds, and you can put in there whatever you want. So I'm gonna save all these files. And use one of the strange things about Desktop Session is it allows you to switch desktops on the fly. So we come down here to Desktop, Other Desktops, and you see we have all these other options. Now I'm using the default ROX IceWM desktop right now. I'm going to switch to Space Fluxbox. See, all the windows are redressed. Oh no, not again. There's my new session text. Now we have Clip It, volume icon, search bar, and YCD down here in the bottom, just like we're supposed to. Our conky display still loads and tells us which desktop we're using. And our new window borders are drawn on. So everything has changed over, and we didn't have to log out to do it. So if you like to switch between window managers, that's kind of cool. If you're just exploring, that's kind of cool too. If you're using a live USB, it will actually remember between boots which one you start left with, so you don't have to set it again every boot. If you are using a live CD, sorry, there's no way to write to a CD. It's read-only, so it can't remember between boots. But the installed system will also, if I log back out and log back in, I will get the Fluxbox system I just left without choosing it again from the Slim menu. So there you go. That's kind of cool. And you can switch back and forth with that. Now I'm using Space Fluxbox, so this icon is going to launch Space FM File Manager, and the links in here are going to launch Space FM File Manager. One of the other cool features is the Preferred Applications app, and Desktop Session actually takes care of this as well. You can set different default applications, and you can see that I've set my terminal to RxVT. If I go to Terminal, RxVT will launch. Okay. If I want to change that back to RoxTerm, I can. And there we go, back to RoxTerm. So you can set any of the default links. That's these links here: Terminal, File Manager, Web Browser, Editor, and actually there's some more in Preferences, Video Player, Image Viewer, these things as well. You can set these here, and you will get whichever default app you want. Now, a special mention is the File Manager app. By default, it's set to use whatever file manager goes with your desktop. So if you are using Space FM, it will use Space. If you're using ROX desktop, it will use ROX. But you can set that to whatever you want by clicking the button and coming back here. Now this file is in the annex folder. The other applications are found in the regular applications folder. Just click back one, and you can come here. Now I'm using SpaceFM Desktop. I'm going to use Rocks for my file manager. Actually, I'm not. I'm just going to set SpaceFM for my file manager. Oh, Rocks is in the annex folder. Okay, so I'm going to set Rocks to my desktop. It's in the annex folder. Forgot that. Click OK. And now the links are going to open Rocks Filer instead of SpaceFM. So there's some of the cool things that you can do with the desktop session app. It's unique to annex 15, so test out the features. I will caution, sometimes some of the things you'll read in, let's say, the Arch Wiki and things like that, sometimes they require a little tweaking for Annex because of the way desktop session operates. For tips, tricks, how-tos, head over to annex.mepis.org or throw up a post at annex.freeforms.org. This is Dolphin Oracle signing off. Have a great day.